Hey guys, so yeah, glad to be back on the channel. We haven't made a video in a month, but very excited to be back on the channel. And yeah, a lot has happened since the last time I made a video. And from a rugby point of view, I mean, gosh, we had the July internationals with the All Blacks getting over England. We have the Wallabies looking in some good form with those two wins against Wales as well as the one against Georgia. Even the South Africans, they're a good, really good battle, I'd say, against the Irish. But again, that did finish one apiece. So some interesting things to talk about from a box standpoint. And again, for the Argentinians, they did get one win over the French. Again, we do have to remember that the French weren't their best team, but still pretty good for the Argentinians going into this Rugby Championship. Yeah, from a personal standpoint, I took a month out of YouTube just because I wanted just a bit of a break, kind of just give myself of a refresher, to say the least. But also just I wanted to kind of just make sure I'm kind of putting special attention towards the future of kind of just my career, really. And luckily enough, I've been given a PhD scholarship at Manchester, so I will be staying in Manchester for 3 more years. So very excited for that. And yeah, I'll kickstart that within October. But for now, I'm in Hong Kong. I'm here just for a month and a half before I kind of head back. But yeah, pretty exciting. I'll be able to give you guys some Rugby Championship content. I'll be giving you guys my prediction in this video. But of course, I will be doing live streams for all the games. I'll try to do my best to cover all the live streams. And yeah, just really excited for this Rugby Championship because again, this for me, this is like the competition I watch the most. I watch it more than the Six Nations, which a lot of people may be surprised about because for most people it's probably the other way around. But no, I just love Southern Hemisphere rugby. So yeah, really excited for this. But yeah, before we get into this video, guys, in terms of my prediction, make sure to click the like button, guys. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts on who do you think will win this Rugby Championship? Who do you think will be the standout players? Let me know in the comment section below. Again, for this Rugby Championship, there's a lot to go into. First, we got to talk about the sides. I mean, the fixture wise, I mean, you got like a pretty good fixture list. I'd say for some of the sides. I mean, if I look at it from who is the favorite going into this competition, I'd say it has to be the Springboks. They're coming off that World Cup, but also from a fixture standpoint, they have some pretty favorable fixtures, I think, because they're playing two of their first fixtures away in Australia. Then, of course, they're playing two of their home fixtures against the All Blacks, and that's a key one to kind of make it so they have the best fixtures kind of available. And then, of course, they have a game against the Argentinians away, and then they finish off with a game at home against the Argentinians. So overall, I think the Springboks have probably the best fixture list when you look at it just as it is. But to be fair, the other sides don't have too bad of a fixture list as well. If you look at the Wallabies, you can kind of reverse that, since they have two home fixtures against the world champions, so they can kind of make their mark here with Joe Schmidt, and that's something which they'll want to do. So that can go to their favor. They have two away games to the Pumas, so that could be seen as a kind of an advantage in a way, because at times you may consider the Pumas as kind of the weaker team within the competition, but at times they could surprise you. So it's one of those where you just don't know what's going to happen with that. If you play them away or if you play them at home, like what's better? Because throughout the last couple of years, the Pumas have been pretty good and shocking teams, so you can never really count them out. But hey, Wallabies, they'll play two fixtures away within Argentina, and then finally they'll play one home fixture within Australia, and then another within New Zealand. So yeah, we'll see what happens from their standpoint. There's a lot to talk about with them. Again, with the Argentinians, they do start off with two away fixtures against the All Blacks. So yeah, that doesn't go into their favor. To be honest, it's one of those where you want to kind of play the All Blacks at home. It's just the best possible scenario. But at the same time, with the Argentinians, in my opinion, seem not. This is a sort of a new cycle. So there's a lot that they have to kind of go through, and there's a lot of player transitions. So maybe it's actually the best thing they actually play away against New Zealand, because they kind of get the two tough fixtures out of the way. And then from there, they play two home games against the Wallabies. And then they actually play one-on-one, of course, one home game, one away game against the Boks. So that could actually come into their favor. So we'll have to wait and see if that's what happens on that front. But of course, finally, we do have the All Blacks playing their first two games against the Argentinians. Then we have the two games away against the Springboks. That'll be the difficult, I guess, two fixtures out of the bunch. And then, of course, one-on-one against the Wallabies home and away. So, yeah, I think out of all the fixtures, I definitely think the Springboks have the advantage from a fixture standpoint. If I had to say who has the worst, it's tough saying who has the worst. I mean, you can make the argument actually the All Blacks, because they're playing two away fixtures in South Africa, so that's pretty. It's not in their favor. But if I had to honestly say, would probably say Australia in a weird way. I think Australia has a very difficult set of fixtures because they're playing the world. They're playing Springboks, both their fixtures at home. And again, we have to remember the Springboks did lose their last game against Ireland, so we want to get back onto winning form really in terms of that first test. And yeah, there's just something which I don't know, like two away fixtures in Argentina. I think it can go either way really. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. But yeah, in terms of I kind of like one of the watch players, I'd say throughout this tournament, if I had to name one from each team, starting off with the box, I got to go with Sasha Feinberg in Gumozulu. I think he's just been outstanding for the Springboks since he's kind of come into the side. And yeah, he's really made a mark really on kind of how the Springboks are playing recently. He did make his introduction against the Welsh. And yeah, he kind of really just made his mark there with that kind of long range kicking. And again, he kind of looks pretty good throughout the Ireland as well as Portugal, but particularly the Portugal fixture because he definitely stepped up on that occasion, getting a few try assists in there. But yeah, overall, I'm really excited for what he can do within this Rugby Championship. And again, it's a young talent, but hopefully he can kind of build up and just become better, really. And again, he's getting that starting opportunity against the Wallabies as the number 10. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do in that sense. Yeah, in terms of the the All Blacks ones to watch, I think this is one where he's not a player which you have to look out for because he's been amazing throughout his career. But Will Jordan, I just think is a player which we haven't seen play for a while because we have to remember that he was injured for the entire Super Rugby season, so we didn't get to see any kind of rugby from him. Like the last time he played was in that World Cup final against the Springboks. So it's one of those where there's a lot kind of riding on him kind of just to get back into the form he used to be. Hopefully he doesn't have a dip. Because we have seen, players in the past where they have a major injury and then they're not able to kind of retain the form they used to have. So hopefully that isn't in Will Jordan's case, because even though I'm a Springbok fan, I love watching Will Jordan, and he causes mayhem when it comes to Super Rugby, but also into the international scene. So I'm hoping he does the job here for the All Blacks. And again, he is coming off the bench, I believe, in the first fixture, so he'll have to make his mark off the bench. But still, he'll be able to kind of grow into it, and he'll most likely start within those other fixtures against the Boks in particular, as well as the Wallaby fixtures. So yeah, looking forward to see what he can do in this Rugby Championship. Again, with the Wallabies, I think one player that I have an eye out for, and I think not a lot of people would have watched him if you're like a Bok fan or just an Argentinian fan, because I don't know if you still watch Super Rugby or not, but Carlo Tizzano is a player which he's in the back of my mind here, and someone who I wanted the Wallabies to select right off the back for the July internationals, but they didn't actually go with him. So it's one of those where I'm looking forward to what he can bring towards his Wallabies side, because he is starting against the Springboks at the number 7 jerseys. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do. He is a tackling machine. That's like what he's known for, because, for the Western Force, he was unbelievable for them throughout the Super Rugby season. I think he had over 200 tackles, which is incredible. So he's definitely be a good player for the Wallabies from a defensive point of view. It's just more about the, carrying side of it, which I want to see more of, in this game. But besides that, he's an excellent player and has a lot of room for growth. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do for the Wallabies. But yeah, I guess for the Argentinians, the last player that I'm looking out for, and again, this is a player which I don't think a lot of people will know of, but I'm looking out for Ignacio Ruiz. Again, he's been playing in France, but he's only 23 years old, and this is the reason why I'm selecting him is because the Argentinians, they've always had world-class hookers in those positions, particularly Augustin Crevi as well as Julian Montoya, and those two have just been sensational for the Argentinians for a majority of the time. But I'm now looking at Ruiz here. He's young, he's 23 years old. The idea is that, he'll kind of, take over the mantle, I guess, from Augustin Crevi, because again, he is still actually involved in this Argentinian side, which is crazy, because he's actually coming off the bench against the All Blacks in that opening test. But I want to see what Ruiz can do here, because, I looked back at those kind of French games that he played in. And again, he didn't play, he came off the bench, I believe, for both the French fixtures, but he actually played the majority against Uruguay, and he looked pretty impressive actually in that game. So he's a player that I want to keep an eye out for, and hopefully he can make an impact for the Argentinians, because for what I've seen, his lineup success is pretty good from that aspect, but it's more about can he carry the ball as well as Julian Montoya or Augustin Crevi? Can he win the amount of turnovers that they normally do? That's the big question. So I'm excited to see what he can bring in towards this Pumas side. On top of this, you have to think about the coaches as well, because a lot of these sides have new coaches in. When you look at the All Blacks, they have Scott Robinson. When you have Zafka, you can technically say they have a new coach with Lassie. Again, he has been there before, but yeah, he's back in charge. You have with the Wallabies, you have Joe Schmidt, and he's going to bring a lot of experience towards that side. And again, you have Philippe Contamponi there for the Argentinians. So there's a lot of changes, I guess, for each of these, I guess, national sides here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of play and kind of the tactics involved, because, you know, we could see a few things kind of switch up to what we normally see. I'm excited from that standpoint. But again, in terms of my overall prediction for this Rugby Championship, I think I'm going to say the Argentinians will finish last in this year's Rugby Championship. I just think the Wallabies are going to be a better side than them. Just for what I've seen so far from the July internationals, and then just comparing the two sides, I was more impressed by the Wallabies than the Argentinians. So for that reason alone, I'm going to go with the Wallabies to finish in third. And then for the top two, gosh, this is tough, because you have the All Blacks, who are just, you know, they won the last 4 Rugby Championships. So there's someone which they haven't lost in a very long time, guys. So from a history book standpoint, it's definitely in their favor. But I guess from a form standpoint, I mean, you could also say the All Blacks are still, 100% really with Scott Robinson. So it's tough. Just from the box of a better fixture list, that's the problem. I think the box of a better fixture list, because they're playing the All Blacks both at home, both games at home. Yeah, I think for that reason alone, I am going to say the Springboks finish first, All Blacks second. But honestly, it could be just if the All Blacks just win one of the games in South Africa, then I think they've won the Rugby Championship. So that's what's going to come down to, really. So look, I'm excited. I'm excited for this competition, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this competition. I'm excited to kind of go over it once again. I'll give you guys live streams as promised. And yeah, just come on, Boca. Come on, Box. Well, that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, see you guys next time.